Hey everybody! So today we're going to take a look at another one of these awesome Rokr kits, these wood kits that they always make. Now this one here I think is one of their newest ones. It's called the Marble Travel London set, and it's just kind of a neat little marble run type of thing that's based on London. And back here you can see it's kind of like got this diagram on here. So there's going to be some lights in this set. I think mainly these areas here that you kind of see in yellow are lit. And then it has a few moving things. Now, I think there's a motor in this thing. I think it's motorized. I didn't really look at it very close, to be honest with you. I just was more interested in the appeal of it. I think the big Ferris wheel is going to turn. You got Big Ben here. There's even a wood double-decker bus, which is really neat. I don't know if there's any movement with the street functions, but I think the ball is going to roll through all these different, ramps and stuff. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the parts. Here's all the sheets of parts that come with this. So there is quite a few parts to it. So here you can see all of this. Looks like we got some sections here that will bend when they cut the wood to bend like that. You always got to be careful with those. Here is all this. There's a lot of pieces on this. I didn't realize. Then there is all of this. This sheet has some darker colored wood as well as these. I've got that little printing right there, all laser cut. These kits are always so well engineered. They always go together really good. And they're pretty fun to build. I gotta say, I'm pretty hooked on these Rokr kits. These ones are a little bit smaller, more gears, lots of gears to this. Not as bad as the Gearball challenge, though, that I did not too long ago. But there we go. All right, so let's take a look at some of the hardware that comes with this. So here's all the other stuff that this comes with. So you get this plastic piece right here. These, I'm guessing, are the little pods that are on the Ferris wheel. Those are pretty neat looking. They're like clear pieces. You also have the circuit board that all the stuff is going to connect into. And then you also have these the screwdrivers. You provide that to snip these pieces off, but I always just use nippers. We got some metal rods, some screws. What else is in here? Now, just some various hardware that you're going to need to put this together. Got this nice big motor right here. Very nice. Everything's plug and play as usual, which is great. Looks like there's a bell in this set, so apparently there's a little bell in it, which I didn't know. These might be the wheels for... I don't know what those are for, to be honest with you. It looks like train car wheels. But the ball's there. 2 crayons of wax, which is great. You got the sanding stick and just sandpaper. Then they give you one of these. It's got a magnet on one end and just this kind of thing. So usually you have to kind of prod something to move along or something with those, I guess. These are some spacers. And then you also have this right here. This is the connector. And then there's some lights. Now, what is missing out of this? Well, on the instructions here, let me go grab them. It shows that there is a power cable that you are supposed to connect to this piece right here. But there is no power cable. They usually at least give you the cable, but there isn't one. And, a lot of these kits nowadays are not providing the power block either. Now, I gotta say, as much as I love a lot of this stuff, everybody's getting a little bit more cheaper with stuff. Now they're not even providing the power cable. So now you got to make sure you have the power cable that's got the right piece right here to connect into this thing like it's supposed to. But then they specify that the power block has got to be 5 volts, 5 amps, and at a minimum. And so most of the time I have one that's 5 volts, 3 amps, or 2 amps, or whatever, 1 even. And so, these companies, if you're going to make us spend the money on your kit, have everything included in the kit. Nobody wants to go out, and now we got to hunt around for these cables, and now we got to hunt around for the right power block. If you're going to want us to spend the money on your kits, then have everything in the kit so we don't have to go out and make, another purchase to make this thing work. If you got to charge us a couple of extra bucks for these cables, you don't have to have one this long, obviously, but at least provide that thing, especially when they're specific to a certain kit. And then even just a short cable is fine or whatever. But at least keep it so that we don't have to keep going out to buy all these different plugs and cables and stuff. It's just getting a little more frustrating with that. All right, well, anyway, I'm going to get started building this thing, and hopefully it goes together pretty good, even with that thing not included. Okay, so this is what I've got going on so far. So we got the whole base started. Very cool. Now, I actually don't even know what this does. I haven't seen any videos that show it working. I think usually on the website it shows what it does. But the balls, there's some ramps already going on here. There's one there. And here's the motor. It's encased inside this building. And then you can see that once the motor starts to turn, it's going to make this arm move up and down on that pivot. And there's a little elevator right here. It's going to go up and down right here, drop the ball off on this ramp, and then it's going to go onto this thing here that is going to turn somehow. And I may have to loosen that up a little bit just so it turns a little bit more loose. And then, let's see, we got all the wiring is in place. They're very good about, showing you where the wires go. That's where it's going to plug in for power. I wish it did have an on-off switch. It's going to probably just turn on right when you plug it in. I'm guessing this is like a subway. And I love those stairs. Those are separate little slats of wood that you put on there. And so I think that's going to light up. You can see the lights run underneath there. So that's going to light up under there, which is really cool. You've got this, I'm guessing that's a reference to Harry Potter maybe. And then this moves up and down as well. So there's like a little pivot point on there. So yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm really liking this so far. Everything's going together excellent as always. The instructions are always nice and clear on here. I like how they, make sure that you got the right hardware so you can measure it. It's like the actual measurement. I like how they tell you, not to do one thing and make sure you got it correct. They're very good about that. And then we also have these really cool tools. You have that one that helps you push those little spacers, like you see down here, these little clear ones that are right here. Those help you push those down on those rods. And then this thing is really neat. It'll tell you which one, you put the spacer in these little holes, and then you push down on the rod using that thing. And then it measures out the spacers so that they're exactly where they need to go. In this case, you can see how there's, one in between here and here. And so it's really cool. That way, you're accurately putting those on where they're supposed to go. I've always loved when they do that kind of stuff. All right, well, back to work on it. Okay, so it's a few hours later now, making some more progress here. So more of the buildings are starting to come together. We got the ramps starting to show here. So it looks like that's going to drop down in here and go in two different directions. Oh no, it looks like it's going to go this way. Since all the ramps aren't still there yet, I'm still not sure where everything's going to go. I think this is the Big Ben, I'm pretty sure. We just don't have the clock part of it built. But we can see how all of this looks. That is the Tower Bridge right here. That's where this thing moves under here. Looks like it's finally got some weight behind it now. So it looks like there's going to be a wigwag here where the ball's going to go either direction. It's either going to go down inside there or it's going to come over here, drop down onto that ramp, and then from there, I guess it goes in there somewhere. I guess we'll find out. I like how the subway now has a little rail and roof around it. And I think, saying that this doesn't have a power switch, but I think it does. Somewhere in here, I think there's going to be a touch switch to turn it on. I think, but I'm not completely sure. But here's what it looks like from the top. So it's a little smaller than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a lot bigger, but actually I'm glad it isn't because, as I've mentioned before, I just don't have a whole lot of room anymore. So that'll be good. I still have to build the big, huge, the eye is what it's known as, the big Ferris wheel. You can see pieces of it right in there. And that should be interesting because we also got these plastic pieces right here that are the pods. And I'm thinking the balls are going to go in there, but I'm not sure. But it looks like there's an opening big enough for the balls to go in. So that'll be cool. Hopefully that'll be another cool feature for this. All right, well, hopefully I'll get this done here pretty soon. All right, here it is all finished. And oh my gosh, this is a very, very cool set. There's more to it than I thought there was going to be as far as like some of the ways that things move in there, the way the balls are traveling through here, but you can kind of see all of this. There's Big Ben. I love the London sign right here. That lights up. We'll check out the lights here in just a bit. This also lights up, the little Metropolis sign.
And I like that it's got some glass on it, or at least, a clear piece of plastic. There's a little plane right there. It's one of those little flip-flop things that makes the ball go in two different directions. On these two ramps, it'll go either on that ramp there or this one, but they both end up on this ramp. Then it'll go down into this section here. It's kind of hard to show it all, but it drops down into that level there. And then there's like two different areas you can see here on the tower bridge that it's going to fall down. It falls onto this ramp up in here, and then it drops down onto that one on the lower part. This little, I guess it's like a Harry Potter reference. That's my guess. That thing moves up and down over here, and that kind of makes the balls move on this little part here. Then when it comes over here, it comes over to the double-decker bus. This thing's really cool. This moves back and forth. So it has this little track that you can see. And it was fun building this because there's a lot to this little bus, more than it looks like just here, because there's some parts that go underneath here to make this thing slide. So there's actually some little wheels that it rolls around on. There's also some weights down at the bottom, so it uses two of the steel balls as a weight, and that makes it move back and forth. And then that's what makes the balls drop off into here, and then they feed off into the ramp, and then here you can see the balls built up. That's where they start feeding off into the huge eye Ferris wheel right there. And then you can see how this works. Now, if you can see in the back of the bus, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can move it back a little bit here. There's actually a couple of holes right there, and that's where the balls drop into. So they drop into the bus, and then they move towards the front of the bus, and then that's where they fall down in here. Love the decorative areas in here. Now this thing here, I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think what it is, because this moves back and forth. So I think what it is I think there's an area inside there where the balls can get stuck. Maybe it's like an overflow or something like that. And if it does, then you can stick this magnetic stick that they give you down inside there to retrieve it. So I thought that was kind of cool. Here's the power button to turn it on and off. I like it. So there's no actual physical button. It's a touch sensor on that circuit. And I love the little clear pods in here for the big, huge eye Ferris wheel. There was a lot of parts to make this too. You can see all the little spokes kind of in the middle there. Here you can kind of see this detail. That thing goes up and down. That's what makes the whole thing work. We got all this going on here. All right, well, let me go ahead and turn it on, and we'll check out all the ways that the balls move around in there. All right, so let's go and turn this on. There we go. Now, I gotta say, this has got one of the quietest motors I've ever heard on one of these things. As you can see, there's a lot of things moving around in there. I don't even know where to begin. Let's see, well, let's go and start down here at the bottom. So here you can see the bus moving back and forth, and then the balls drop down inside it like that. And there the bus moves side to side. There it goes in there, and then you got this little lift. And then it goes down that ramp, and you can kind of see it down in there feeding into the Ferris wheel. And then they work their way up to the top in these little pods. And then they come up here to the top where they come off this ramp right here. And then that's where they go into that little airplane, the little wig-wag right there. So it goes on one side or the other of the ramp. Now, of course, the ramps are short, and they both kind of end up in the same ramp anyway. But it's still pretty neat. You can hear the bell going off every now and then. Here's where it drops down. There's another wig-wag right here. See how it goes that way or that way. So it either drops down on the bridge, the tower bridge right here, if I can stay focused. Oh gosh, let me see if I can stay focused here. Okay, so you can see it going from the top level down to the bottom. There we go. And then that's where it goes into that little thing that's moving back and forth. So the weight of the ball that goes in this direction drops down in here, and then that weight makes that thing go up and down. But you also got this thing moving up and down as well. Actually, I guess that's probably doing all the movement right there. So then it comes back and starts all over. It's hard to keep this focused. You can also see how it's lit up down here. We'll check it out when the lights are off. But there is a lot of movement in here. I was not expecting it to have this much stuff going on. It's really cool. It works really good too. I gotta say, this one works really, really well. All these kits work really well that I've done as far as the Rokr ones go, but that motor is just so quiet. I cannot believe how quiet that motor is. That is really neat. Oh man, I love it. Okay, let's check out what it looks like in the dark. And there it is. Boy, that looks so cool. I love how the whole thing, I mean, the whole thing lights up. They've got lights everywhere in this thing. I like the whole subway section down here. Big Ben is all lit up right there. I mean, the whole tower lights up. You can see the clock. Over here, this area is lit. And then here's the big London sign. Oh, it looks like a ball got stuck right there. I'll have to fix that. And you can see this area lights up too. And then here's this sign. I mean, the whole thing is lit very, very nicely, I gotta say. Even the interior is lit. There we can see the whole thing moving. So when I was building this, I wasn't sure. Originally I was, from the instructions, I thought, well, maybe the balls just come out here and then you just got to manually put them on. I'm glad that wasn't the case. I'm glad that they just kind of recycle. I really like this bus. I was not expecting the bus to be, I thought it was just decorative. I didn't know it actually had an important part in the working of this thing. Yep, this is really cool. And I like that this one didn't have like a whole bunch of gears. I mean, there was definitely gears to this, but I've built some of these where there are so many gears to the whole thing that it's just kind of crazy. I love it. And you can see how this piece of wood right here is what holds the balls in from falling out like that until they finally get to the top. I mean, it works really good. And when you're putting these barrels in, you have to be very specific. They point out there's a detail on one of the sides in here, and you have to kind of look for it since it's clear plastic, but you have to make sure you line it up right, because I think if you don't, they're not going to lean forward correctly to make the balls come out. But there you can kind of see how that's working its way around. There we go. The propeller on the plane can spin also, as far as, it's on there loose enough, but it looks like it stays put for the most part. I like that little plane in there. Oh man, I like this. I really like this one. Very, very cool. I wonder if there's like a runoff in here. I'll have to check. Maybe that's where that drops somewhere down in here and you're supposed to get it. I'll have to check that out. But there we go. That is an awesome, awesome set. I just love this very, very much. Another cool thing about this switch is if you turn it, well, if you just tap it one more time, it puts it in kind of like a standby mode. So now it turns the motor off, but you can just have it lit up, and you can see how it just kind of does this cool lighting effect right there. So if you want it just sitting on the shelf with these lights going like that, I think that's pretty neat too. And then you just tap it again, or I think usually if you want it to just turn off, you press and hold it, but this time you can turn it back on if you just tap it again. And then to turn it off, you touch and hold it. And there we go. I love it. So it's got multi-functions on that switch. All right, well, there we go. The London Marble Run set from Rokr. I believe this is a brand new set from them. It's so new that Amazon doesn't have it yet as of the making of this video. So I got it directly from the Rokr website. I'll put a link in the description if you want to get one of these. This is not a paid promotion for Rokr. It retails for $60, and I think every time you get on there, they usually give you some kind of a discount. So there's a 10% discount code that you can use on there as well. But this is a really cool set. I love it. These sets by Rokr are always amazing. They've just got this mastered down to a science when it comes to the way these things work. I mean, it's just awesome. This is one of my... probably going to be another one of my favorites. I have too many favorites now. But it's very cool. I have another set coming from them here pretty soon. It's going to be another really cool one. I can't wait to get it. So just a little heads up there for a future video that you might be seeing here soon. But there we go. All right, well, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd very much appreciate it. And until the next time, I'll see you on the next video. So thanks again, and have a good one.